Welcome to the Inspiring Women of Iowa podcast, a special series amplifying the stories of the Inspiring Women of Iowa finalist. Inspiring Women of Iowa is an annual event hosted by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa with the goal of celebrating women of courage, confidence, and character who are making the world a better place. Why does that sound familiar? Well, because it also happens to be the mission of the Girl Scouts, where they believe society is better because strong women show girls that anything is possible. This event was created by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa in 2017 to celebrate women in our community and share their stories while raising support for the Girl Scout programs that build the next generation of inspiring women. 16 individuals are celebrated annually with the Courage, Confidence, Character, and Inspiring Advocate for Women awards. I'm your host, Sarah Noel Wilson. I am a business owner, a champion of women, and I'm also a proud Girl Scout alum, so massive love to Troop 238. And I am honored to have the chance to speak with these amazing, inspiring women and to share their stories with you. Joining me this week is Dr. Dana Levitt, who is the owner and president of Village Green. She has been nominated for the Confidence Award. Thanks for coming and talking to me, Dana.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate yours. Okay, so before we get into the work you do and the impact you make, what else do you want people to know about you as a human?
Probably that this podcast is one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done. And so it's so counterintuitive for confidence, right?
Sure.
Maybe it's just I love making an impact on the world, and I don't do it for the credit to myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one.
That's what makes this awkward, is like
right.
putting you in the spotlight. Well, so my invitation is I hear you, and that also speaks to probably why you were nominated, because you're doing what you do for the betterment of others, not necessarily for the spotlight on you. And this is
Correct.
a great opportunity that others can listen to your story and maybe be inspired as well to step into their power like you have. So that's my loving invitation for you to step into sharing your experience to perhaps inspire others. Okay.
All right.
So Dana, talk to us about either the work you do and kind of connect it to that. I always love to dig into what's the desired impact you hope to make, because we know that each of us, every moment we show up, we're in conversation, we are making an impact, whether we realize it or not. So talk to us about the work you do and the desired impact you hope to make on this world.
So I think I do a lot. I own a lot of corporations, and that's the business piece of it. But I think it's really similar. I also do a lot of volunteering, and in both capacities, the desire's the same, is to leave the world a better place. Is I want to leave the world a better place than it was before me. And so with the work that I do professionally for business, I do a lot of real estate. I own a lot of real estate corporations. And when I was younger and creating these corporations, you have to be in it for the money, because you have to be able to grow, and you need to make a living and all these things. And at a certain point, I realized that there was such a disparity in housing, that people needed housing that they could afford, and was not just completely disgusting. So what I do is I provide housing for people that couldn't afford, these these regular type of rents that have priced people out of the
Uh,
market,
uh,
and I provide them with as nice of places to live.
uh,
So the people that I rent to, there's this gap. They make what they say is too much to get any rental
sure,
assistance, but
sure.
they don't make enough to pay what market rent is for just a standard apartment.
Yeah.
So I no, I don't build the apartments, but I find apartments that I can fix and make gorgeous for people to live in and rent and be safe. And I'm all about security. And then they can live and not have to worry about, people have so much food insecurity, housing
Uh,
insecurity.
uh,
So what I do is I try to provide, affordable housing for people that live in this huge gap
yeah.
of housing kind of crisis. So that's what I do today.
That's incredible and does feel counter to typically what you see with folks who are in real estate, because it is about, so often, not always, so often it is about how can we make the most amount of money.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
You see it. All my colleagues that I would say, I can say all my colleagues that I know of are in real estate purely for the bottom line. But
yeah,
you get to a point where the bottom line, you have to look past that humanity and see that we have a housing crisis. The crisis is that we don't have affordable housing for people that work really hard. They work
yeah,
really hard
yeah,
and they still can't afford a nice place to live. So
yeah,
I'm renting people nice places to live that they can afford. You don't want
yeah,
somebody, the people use the term house or mortgage poor or house
yeah,
poor.
yeah.
The place next door to me charges twice as much as I charge, and
Mm,
my place is equivalent, if not better than
mm.
what they provide. So
Okay,
so I think I'm providing a service.
yeah, no, I mean you absolutely are. And it feels like an act of not rebellion, but a little bit of this is a sort of an act of resistance. And I can appreciate that in you showing up how you show up, which is not only making really affordable, secure, healthy living spaces for people, but doing it with so much heart. I would imagine that can imagine that pushes against some people, right? Like the example of, the apartment complex next to you. I'm sure that to me, I'm listening to
Right,
this going, what a beautiful act of resistance this is to say, we're going to do
right,
this because we're not talking about the bottom line. We're talking about the human line. And this
right,
is the impact I
right,
want to make.
right. I think in too many things right now that are completely irrelevant to this, people are not looking at the human line. They're
Yeah.
looking at the bottom line.
Yeah.
And what I want to always do is look at the human line.
Yeah.
Where's the
Yeah.
humanity in what I do?
Yeah.
Right. So that's always my goal. That's always my goal.
That just gave me some goosebumps, and this is part of why I love being in these conversations, because we live in the same city and I love the opportunity to get to meet these amazing women doing incredible things.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm curious about. Who is somebody who inspires you? So you've been nominated, you received an overwhelming number of people who feel inspired by you. Who inspires you?
Um, well, I have to say, my father,
Mm,
he is now passed.
mm,
And I hope his memory is always for a blessing.
mm,
And he always was my number one inspiration, my biggest cheerleader. You know, if I stumbled, get back up and do it better the next time.
mm,
Just no matter what it was, even if I messed up, he inspired me. And so I think that's just, I don't, it can't get better than what his inspiration was for me. And unfortunately, other people don't get to meet him now. But people who knew him knew that of him. And that's what he ingrained in me too, is leave the world a better place and always give what you can. Give as much as you can.
Yeah. Can I ask, I'm a big believer in people who have passed on. Let's make sure we continue to say their names. So what was your dad's name?
His name was Thomas Charles Levitt.
Thomas Charles Levitt. And what an incredible legacy that he left that continues to live on through you. And then now you're expanding and building upon it and inspiring the next generation as well. He sounds amazing. And yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So, okay. So Dana, when we know that there will be people who will be listening to this, obviously people are going to be exposed to your story who will attend the event. But our goal with this mini podcast series is to be able to expose as many people to the messages and the impact that folks are making. So what would be one message that if people who are listening to this would leave, what would be that message you would want them to leave with?
I guess the message, that is just kind of my constant, I kind of try to slip it in wherever I can, is to do the best you can to make the world a better place. Leave your mark and have it be better than the one before you, so that everybody that comes next has something better. You've done something that can give on and on and on, generationally. In my faith, we say Lador Vador, and it's generation to generation. And so leave something better for the next generation.
Beautiful. Dana, for people who might be interested in connecting with you or following your work or learning more about all the great things you're doing, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
That's a good question.
So just so you know, most people, it's like LinkedIn is usually like, you can, connect with me on LinkedIn.
Right. Definitely. I do have a LinkedIn page and profile, and you can connect with me there. And also I want to say, don't be offended if it takes me a little while to reach back to you. I get a lot of I'm not on social media a lot, actually. And I have a lot going on, so I don't necessarily make social media my priority. But if you want to reach out, I would love to hear from anybody and everybody, and you can find me on LinkedIn for sure.
Awesome. Dana, thank you so much for the work you're doing and continue to do to close that housing gap, which obviously has huge impacts for generational wealth and security for so many. It is so desperately needed. And I love leaving this conversation with, let's not just think about the bottom line, let's think about the human line as well. So thank you so much, Dana.
Absolutely.
The 2025 Inspiring Women of Iowa event will be held on May 9th at the Meadows Events and Conference Center. To purchase tickets and get more information about supporting this event, please visit inspiringwomenofiowa.com. And all proceeds from this fundraising event stay 100% local to benefit Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa and their mission to build up girls of courage, confidence, and character who will make this world a better place. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.